Hello, my name is SlugMTG, and welcome to the first video of my recap of Mason Knopp's Pauper Creators Tournament. This is going to be a bit different than my last video. I don't really want to make another 3-hour video about all of the replays of my games, so instead, each match is going to be its own video. Maybe that'll make it a bit easier to watch and gives me a few videos for all of my effort. There were 6 matches in total. I had a lot of fun, met some new people, and now it's time to share that with all of you. But before we hop into the first match, I do want to go over the deck I'm using a little bit. If you've seen my channel a few times recently, then you know the deck. It's Aristocractos, and honestly, it's just the deck I've been having the most fun piloting lately. It's kind of the one that I am the most comfortable with at the moment, I feel like. So that's why I decided to bring it into the tournament, and it has a surprising amount of game against some of the more meta decks like Fall from Favor. I can use Wrangle to steal a Monarchy, things like that. I did make a few changes to the sideboard entering the tournament, which everything is up on the screen. If you really want to know the differences, then you can go ahead and pause, look at it, or there will also be a link to the deck list in the description, as well as links to the YouTube channel of whoever I am facing, and if they end up posting the match on their end, I will also link that in the description as well. So without further ado, let's get into the first match. So unfortunately, I was not able to voice chat with Deluxeicoff, my first opponent, during the match. You will notice some of these videos are replays, such as this one here, and others will be just live chats with my opponents. Unfortunately, we were not able to voice chat for the first match, but my opponent is Deluxeicoff, and in case you don't know, Deluxeicoff does run Pauperganda, one of the largest Pauper YouTube channels. Pauperganda is a very fun show. Deluxeicoff does a great job doing weekly streams. I believe they are on Saturday morning of various brews. If you've seen Brute Squad around, Deluxeicoff made that deck, and he also posts the stream to YouTube in case you can't catch it live like me. And he also does a bunch of Magic commercial parodies. They're fun to watch. But getting into the match here, when I know that I'm going up against Deluxeicoff, I kind of was mentally preparing for Brute Squad because that's the deck he made. It's kind of what he's known for, at least currently, and I know he really likes the deck, obviously. But I did win the die roll, and this is the opening hand that I keep. I figured I don't really have a red source, but I have card draw, you know, a couple ways to handle the board, so I'm not too worried. I figured this is good enough. So down goes a swamp, and I just go ahead and pass it to him. And I see a swamp in Changeling Outcast, so I immediately know it's not Brute Squad. Brute Squad is Azorius. And when I see swamp into Changeling Outcast, this generally means Rogue Burn. So I don't think I've ever seen... That's not true. I think Deluxeicoff has played this deck on stream before, but it has been a while, so it's not really the deck I was expecting. So I draw for turn, I draw Terminate. It's not bad. I would like to get a red source here, so I Sign of Blood myself, pull an Unearth and Carrion Feeder. Still no red source, but at least I draw, you know, a couple things I can play. So he swings in for 1 and plays a Sovereign's Bite. So this is 100% Rogue Burn, Burnt Toast, whatever you want to call it. It's a list by Chid3. I don't know if Chid made the list, but I know he popularized it. So it's a strong deck, and I'm a little worried about it. And I'm immediately looking forward to my sideboard. But I pull an Ash Barrens, which is actually pretty good, because now I can, at some point, Ash Barrens for a mountain. If I was just playing Sultai Emissary, then this is definitely a misplay by me. I could have Ash Barrens for a mountain, played the mountain, and then still had a swamp and a mountain to play the Sultai Emissary. So this is 100% a misplay by me. I don't know why I didn't do that. Maybe I just forgot. We'll see how much that comes back to bite me. But swings in for 1 with the Changeling, and then the whole reason this deck exists with more Soul Theft. Target player loses 3 life and you gain 3 life, and it has Prowl for 1 and a black. So if you attacked with the Rogue, then you can pay the Prowl cost, and if the Prowl cost was paid, draw a card. So it's a fantastic card, especially in this deck, and hence all the Changelings. Passes back to me without doing anything else. I'm like, okay, and I pull a Bloodfell Cave. So I could have been up to 3 mana right here, which at that point I probably would have played the Fleshbag Marauder, sacking the Emissary, getting rid of the Changeling Outcast, turning off other morsel thefts. So could have been in a bit of a better position, but I swing in for 1, and then I just play the Bloodfell Caves, and looks like I just passed turn. Yeah, so yeah, that misplay of missing my Ash Barrens drop is really starting to hurt me now. Plays Tyrant's Choice. You don't really get a choice, which actually is kind of fitting for Tyrant's Choice, yeah. I take 4 and swing in for 1 more. And then plays Soul Reap, which, yeah, will destroy the Sultai. Or no, wait, what am I doing? I have Village Rites. So I play Village Rites, so I don't lose any life. I draw 2 cards, and I can still Ash Barrens. Finally, Ash Barrens. Or a Mountain. I think the only reason I went for a Mountain is because I have multiple red spells in hands. Otherwise, I generally like to go for Swamps. I play the Mountain, and out comes the Carrion Feeder and the Mortician Beetle. And this is where the fun with the deck starts, is wrangling your opponent's creature. So now I have his creature, at least until the end of the turn, but he's not getting it back. And so I swing in for 3, and then I go ahead and sacrifice the Changeling Outcast to Carrion Feeder, Growing Mortician Beetle, and Carrion Feeder. I am at 6 life though, so good luck as far as surviving me, and Signs and Bloods himself, and Sovereign Bite. So I'm down to 3. Deluxeicoff has 3 cards in hand. Apparently can't kill me this turn, but definitely can kill me next turn. And I draw Bloodfell Caves. So I'm up to 4. That does put me out of things like Sovereign Bite, Bump in the Night, so maybe I can survive. And then, so I play the Sultai Emissary, unearth the Sultai Emissary, and sacrifice one of them, and then I sacrifice the other one, swing in for 10 damage. Deluxeicoff goes down to 13. I am showing lethal next turn, so has to kill me, and just plays a Bump in the Night. That's probably what he just drew, considering that he didn't play it last turn, and then it gets Verdict. So, yeah, that's it, and I lose the game. So that misplay with Ash Barrens, it potentially mattered. I don't know if it really did all that much, because Deluxeicoff only played the 1 Morsel Theft, and I believe that was before I would have had the opportunity to play my Fleshbag Marauder, getting rid of their creature. So overall, I don't think it swung anything in the match, but it was definitely a misplay that I will have to keep an eye out for the future. So going into the second game, I got rid of my 2 Innocent Bloods and brought in my 2 Sylvok Life Staffs. I didn't bring in the Suffocating Fumes because I didn't necessarily think that bringing in a couple cards just for a few 1/1s is necessarily worth it. And between the Wrangles, the Fleshbag Marauders, the Terminates, I should have no problem clearing the board because this isn't exactly the most creature-heavy deck. I do play first, and this is my opening hand. I actually really like this opening hand. It is fantastic. Deluxeicoff also keeps a hand of 7, and first I play the Mortician Beetle. Same start as before, Changeling Outcast. And I draw a second Mortician Beetle for my second turn. I just go ahead and play a Mountain. I swing in for 1, because Changeling Outcast can't be blocked either. So Deluxeicoff goes down to 19. I'm officially winning. And I play a Mog War Marshal and get a 2 1/1s. So Changeling Outcast swings in, can't block it, and a second Changeling Outcast, and a Fruit of Tizarus. So, lost 3 life there, no longer winning. I do not pay the Echo cost for Mog War Marshal, which gets me a Goblin, and because Mog War Marshal was sacked, I get a counter on Mortician Beetle. Actually, a neat little synergy, and I swing in with 2/2 and a 1/1. Follow up with another Mog War Marshal. Plays a Radiant Fountain, not what I want to see, especially since I am a more aggressive deck. Swings in with both Changeling Outcasts. And I did miss my land drop last turn, so that is really starting to hurt. And comes back to me. So I'm down to 12. Deluxeicoff is at 21. And do not pay the Echo cost on Mog War Marshal. So Mortician Beetle is now at 3/3. And at this point, I'm just really hoping to draw my Sylvok Life Staffs. At least one of them, and don't get it. I get a Perilous Mirror instead. So I swing in 6 damage and then play the Perilous Mirror. So Deluxeicoff is down to 15 with 3 cards left in hand. I don't think I'm dying this turn, and my potential damage is getting higher by the turn. So the clock is definitely ticking for Deluxeicoff. He needs to definitely start like burning me down very quickly. Plays the Sign of Blood, plays the Bump in Night, draws a couple cards, deals 3 damage to me, and only swings in with 1 Outcast. I'm not sure why Deluxeicoff didn't swing in with the other one, especially since they can't block. However, that's not really a slight against him because I think I also make the same mistake. So I play the Carrion Feeder, and for some reason I do sacrifice the Perilous Mirror to the Carrion Feeder to ping off the Changeling Outcast as if it's a blocker. So I ping it off, and sure, it grows Mortician Beetle and Carrion Feeder, but it only adds 1+1/+1 counter to Mortician Beetle, and Carrion Feeder can't swing this turn. So it would have been the same amount of damage if I just swung in with the Perilous Mirror, and I don't know, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure why I decided to ping it off. I mean, it does save me a damage from taking a damage, but I swing in 8, and that is lethal next turn for Deluxeicoff, and I am at 8 life, and he has 3 cards in hand, which is 4 now. One of them was a land, so that's really good for me. He swings in for 1. I have no choice but to take it. And there's Evankar's Justice, which I was not expecting that. However, that's not going to do anything because now I just sacrifice all of my goblins, growing my Carrion Feeder and my Mortician Beetle to be absolutely massive, and he does not have a blocker down, which means that at least, even if he plays a creature, at least one of them is going to be able to get through for lethal, and he goes ahead and scoops it up. Into the third game, it comes down to this. I decided to keep this opening hand. Deluxeicoff does say in the chat, I don't want to show the chat because it gives away the ending of the game for some reason, but Deluxeicoff types in chat, risky keep here, and then I reply back. I say, I'm right there with you. Because this is very much reliant on me hitting at least 1 more black source, which all but 3 lands can be a black source, so I'm not too worried about it. As long as I can draw, you know, like a couple lands, I should be good to go. So I decided to keep it, and I have an Ash Baron, so I can start that as a black source. Plays a swamp and plays a Prickly Boggart, so not the Changeling Outcast, we're mixing it up this time around. And I just play the Mountain and pass back, as I plan 2 Ash Barons at his end step. He just goes ahead and plays another Swamp, and gets the Prowl Morsel Theft, which is not good. I just go ahead and basic land cycle here, and grab a Swamp, and I'm down 4. And I draw a Mountain, which that's not good. I only have 3 mountains in the entire deck, so it's not very likely that I hit another one, but unfortunately I do. I mean, it is a land, but I really needed it to be a black source. But I go ahead and play the Carrion Feeder and just go ahead and pass turn. So there's a Changeling Outcast and then a Geth's Verdict. And because I'm a little cheeky, I go ahead and sacrifice Carrion Feeder, take him out on my own terms, but I still do lose the 1 life. Deluxeicoff swings in for 1, but has no more mana, so it comes back to me. I do pull a Lightning Bolt, which is kind of nice given that I have 2 mountains, so I definitely need to draw some red spells if I'm going to be playing more than 1 spell per turn. So I play the Mountain, and I go ahead and play the Carrion Feeder and pass back. I'm not really looking to use Lightning Bolt on a 1/1. Maybe I could, but since he has 2 rogues out, if I bolt 1, it doesn't turn off Prowl from Morsel Theft, so it's not great either way. It's not very efficient. And it only saves me 1 life. Deluxeicoff plays Fruit of Tizoris, so I lose 2 life. And then Soul Reaps the Carrion Feeder. My creatures are starting to drop. I do have an Unearth, so I can bring him back. And so I avoid taking the 3 life. I go ahead and sacrifice Carrion Feeder to itself. And then I do something a little risky. I go ahead and I cycle Unearth. And the reason I do that is because I am desperate for a black source. Because if I can find a black source, I can play Carrion Feeder and then keep up Village Rites or keep up Terminate, or that I just drew, or something. But unfortunately I did draw Terminate, but that does bring me one card closer to my next land, which is a Mountain. So I've drawn all 3 of my mountains so far, not another black source. So I just go ahead, I terminate the 1 Changeling Outcast, and I go ahead and bolt the Prickly Boggart. That way, just stem the bleeding a little bit, try to survive as long as possible, hopefully hit a Life Staff or just something. Deluxeicoff plays Sovereign's Bite. I go down to 7. and he passes back. And I draw a Sign in Blood, which is completely worthless without the second swamp. They should be Knight's Whispers, but I believe they are a couple ticks each at the moment. I just have other cards that I want to save up for more, but unfortunately, it bites me this time. It normally doesn't bite me in the butt, but this time it does, unfortunately. And I just go ahead and I play the Carrion Feeder, and I hope that he doesn't have any more removal. Tyrant's Choice, I go ahead and take 4 life, plays a Rakdos Carnarium. If the last card in his hand is a Bump in the Night, then I am completely screwed, but it is not, and he passes back to me. I play, I draw a Fleshbag Marauder, not really what I want to do at the moment. Doesn't really help me with anything, so I just swing in for 1, bring him down to 25. It's not looking great. And then he escapes Fruit of Tizarus, so I lose 2 life. I go down to 1, and I'm not dead yet. I'm almost there, but I'm not dead yet. So I draw a Lightning Bolt, not a land. I swing in Carrion Feeder, and I just hope that he has nothing but duds in his hand. Doesn't even really matter though, because Fruit of Tizarus, you can escape it by exiling 3 other cards from your graveyard. Definitely has that and the mana to pay for it, but ended up drawing a Sovereign's Bite, and that's the match. So unfortunately, I just never hit that second black source. If I managed to hit it early on, then I could have Villaged Rites away a Carrion Feeder in response to the removal, and I could have dug a couple cards deeper. Maybe a Sylvok Lifestaff was right off the top. I don't think I can draw cards in replays, so I don't know, I'll try. Yeah, I cannot. So I'm not too torn up about the loss. It was very unlucky to draw my only 3 lands that cannot produce black mana, and I mean, it's very unlikely, but it does happen. I think Deluxeicoff played it well. Rogue Burn is just, it's a fun deck. I do want to play it eventually. But unfortunately, I do start off with a loss, but hopefully my next few games will be a bit better than that. So that was the first match. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said before, links to Deluxeicoff's channel will be in the description, Pauperganda, as well as the deck list, and a Discord link to the Pauper Guild Discord channel. But anyway, I just want to thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I really do appreciate it. But now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to remove all the lands from this deck and replace them with basic swamps. Bye!